My little rant tonight is basically one of my pet peeves. It's the whole debate of LARPers versus gamers. Or more to the point, role players versus gamers, because LARPers come in both forms. So what does that entail? A role player is more into the concept of their character, the motivations, and the stories that they can write through their actions, through their conversations, and so on. A gamer plays their sheet. They're all about utilizing their sheet to the max. They're about getting as many disciplines, gifts, powers, whatever it may be, depending on the system you're using. They're all about exploiting these things and actually making sure they use them to show them off. If you got somebody who's got a bunch of brawl or fighting abilities, they're going to use them all just so they can show them. Whereas a role player might talk about it, they might use it if they have to, but for the most part, they're going to be getting into the bulk of their character. What really gets on my nerves is when the two come into a clash, because gamers don't seem to understand that in the end you always can get a good scene going with just talking and not using your sheet. I don't care if you're playing a boxer and you want to talk to a scholar, you might have a reason for doing it. Find your motivation. I mean, we have the 1920s Cthulhu game that we're working on, and that is a prime example. Boxers back then, they were mainly thugs. However, they loved hanging around with the mafia. A lot of people liked hanging around with the boxers because they were considered to be prestige symbols because they were famous. Academics might have reason to be around them because they might want somebody to protect them, especially if they're delving into something that they probably shouldn't be. That's the bulk of my complaint with it, is you get those people who, they get bored. Why? Because they're not doing something. There's a number of things you can do. You don't always have to go out there and kick everybody's butt. If you want to do that, go play Mortal Kombat. Go play, Super Street Fighter or something. That's what video games are for. You're at a LARP to create an experience with a bunch of people. A role player will take the negatives that are heaped upon them, and they'll use it to enrich their character and enrich the story and enrich everybody else's story around them. They're going to roll with the punches and they're going to adapt to them. The problem I have with gamers is that gamers will go out in a blaze of glory. Oh, everything's working against me, so I'm going to try to take out the most powerful person I can, or I'm just going to go out, I'm going to flame out. And entirely too often, gamers try to make those characters that they base upon people in movies. They want the loners. They want to have like a Chuck Norris style loner who's, oh yeah, you're going to hear all the stories about how I kick butt. What does that do to make it better for everybody around you? All you're doing is monopolizing the storyteller's or the narrator's time for your individual story, which benefits no one. Nobody wants to hear you gloat, and that's all it leads to. So that's my rant. I think what it comes down to is the role players should be trying to move the gamers into a more enriched position where they can expand their abilities. Because if all you are is a combat monkey, it doesn't seem like you have a lot of abilities and you're very versatile. The gamers themselves should be trying to achieve this. Just because somebody decides to play a character that they might not be best suited for, that does not mean that they shouldn't play it. I believe that everybody who plays in a LARP environment has the potential to get better. So what, you got somebody who's kind of an introvert who's playing a con man. They might not do a very good job of it, but you know what? They might learn and they might get better, and it might bring them out of their shell. I believe that it's our job as staff to help nurture this. I believe veteran gamers, I believe the role players, they should be doing such as well. Just some of my beliefs. It's just a quick rant. Couple things kind of tweaked it over the last few days, but it's kind of something that's been brewing for a long time because I've been involved in organizations which just seem to be dominated by gamers. And frankly, I've been around long enough that I lean towards the role players. That's just my proclivity. So that's about it. Take it or leave it as you want. If you want to comment on it, go ahead. There's a discussion area, on this YouTube channel. So I'll be happy to answer anything anybody wants to say, whether it's positive, negative, or questions or whatever. Take it easy, guys.